Remember the last time when you put all the puzzle pieces together, everything fell into place and a trade completely clicked for you and you were able to capture the absolute bottom and see a rocket ship to the upside? In today's video, we're going to share our behind the scenes research with everybody to help us get back to that feeling. In the event you want that experience, hit the thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification for other future streams, where recently we've been breaking down very important information regarding timing. Now, as always, these schedules are constantly changing. A tweet from the president just threw into the lineup, but today's video, we're not going to talk about timing. We've already broke down, the Treasury General account is about to refill. And on the other side of that liquidity catalyst, when the government is finally done fighting about their shutdowns, trying to open the border, trying to change voter ID, and they get that money into the hands of the Treasury, and then it rotates back into the economy, that's going to be a surge. Now, keep in mind, these two government shutdowns, these have been an enormous catalyst, and they're rare. This has been the biggest government shutdown event back to back from this fall and now again. And this is detrimental to specifically crypto, which relies heavily on liquidity. So once this is all said and done, we're looking at a huge rotation, and from using the same skill set that got us this timing, we're going to be able to vet out specific projects that are going to be ready for maximum upside. Before we jump into this, let's get a word from the Peach Fuzz Mafia. This is almost unbelievable. Check this out. So they're saying technical analysis, this never works. They're saying fundamental analysis, this is kind of complex. They're building an entire trading model that relies solely on social media trends. Did you hear this guy? Let me rewind that. And this is like one of the most explosive growing channels on YouTube. This is what he says. I don't know if you're getting this audio. The only way he thinks that you can profitably trade crypto is through following big Twitter accounts. And they actually believe that, and they built entire systems around it. That is laughably wrong. And so far, just in quarter one, we've already put the Peach Fuzz Mafia to absolute shame, using the technique we're about to go through in detail, not just about timing, but how we came up with River for a breakout catalyst at the FOMC meeting. This is a 30x upside. This is comparable with Siren, which we didn't get. Same upside. This is a utility-based breakout. We got BankerBot 5x. And then in our top 100, we were able to put together trading plans for Tau that a breakout was about to unfold. Notice the consolidation across altcoins started with the jobs report. This is completely disproving the Peach Fuzz Mafia and everything that kid was saying. What actually triggered the upside, of course, was the labor market print. Anything below 50K was going to be bullish. The target sectors, AI infrastructure, and obviously Tau's a big part of that. In today's video, we're going to deep dive into all the projects that are positioned for maximum upside. How did we get to that assumption? It's very easy. Inside of this FOMC document, they're talking about AI CapEx. This is exactly how we've made these Chad level call outs time and time again, but that's about timing. Here it's different. What the central bank is saying is, wow, artificial intelligence is starting to take over. And as the Treasury General account injects its liquidity back into the US economy, it's going to directly target AI, guys. This is no, oh, Elon Musk tweeted about AI, or some big social media guy on Twitter with 1 million followers, he tweeted about this or that. That is nonsensical, nut-hugging garbage that anyone, ask your father or your uncle about it, obviously gonna lead down a slippery slope of bad trading habits. You might be able to catch some upside on that or verify a trading plan. What we do on this channel and in our group, we follow the institutional money. And we do that by tracking FOMC documents. So we can see clear-cut example last year. Once the Treasury General Account refills, right here, here's the refill, and then it turns around and injects liquidity back into the economy. This is 1/10 the size of the bond markets. Just to get everybody up to speed on where the liquidity is coming from. Now, its unlock can be delayed. Look at what Trump just said. President of the United States, what's on everybody's mind right now? The conflict overseas. How's this going to affect everything? He pushed the deadline back to April 6th. Everyone who's been watching our recent videos, what do we know? April 6th was the day we were already projecting huge volatility. Like the market's going to wick down in a V shape right there and then bounce to the upside, almost identical to what happened last year. And we can see we've got the jobs report that just called massive upside, but it also had a fake out. We've got the durable goods. That stands for robotics and artificial intelligence. And then we've got the FOMC minutes. This has been dynamic catalysts across crypto. Looking at every FOMC meeting forecast, but specifically the green emojis are when we got our biggest breakout. Now we jump into Coinbase, Shazam. Are you noticing a pattern here? This is the secret to profitably trading the market. Deep understanding of economy, because it's the same meetings that caused massive upside in Coinbase. Something we're going to do inside our VIP group is we're going to start leverage trading Coinbase specifically, cherry picking some of the best setups, hitting it with options. As you know, options are all about timing. We can get in on one of these green emojis with a nice juicy options contract, and we got it made in the shade. Rapid fire 50x, rapid fire 100x. And of course, it's the Peach Fuzz Mafia with their confirmation bias. Everybody wants to know, oh, what's trending on Twitter? And they're going nowhere with it time and time again. The reason why they aren't always talking about the awesome trades they just made in Q1 is because they didn't have any, because they're wandering around aimlessly. But in this video, and with your guys' help, because we're going to be jumping into the comments, grabbing picks and vetting them on the fly, one of our projected breakout projects, we actually got this idea from a subscriber who left an awesome comment. And of course, we're always phoning a friend, looking for new leads under research. So there's been a new event, and that's the Iran deadline. And that just really reinforces the Treasury General Account pivot. Now, of course, we need to read the FOMC minutes when it comes out, because it might show River's going to break out with more Treasury bill auctions, or it might show, yeah, it's AI CapEx all day. And we're going to go into some specific trades that are really going to hone in on that AI CapEx narrative. The same one that rocketed Tau to the upside. The same one that rocketed BankerBot. Now watch out, because in a more bearish scenario, the Bank of Japan, they might hike rates on April 28th. And that would be a bit of a fly in the ointment. Getting into the projects. Position for breakout in April. So we're seeing the Treasury General Account collapse take place. At these lows, these are the projects that we want to scoop up, and here's why. Obviously, with Tau, with Render, for anybody who wasn't in VIP, that boat's already sailed to buy Tau way down here at the low, cold storage. Those prices are gone. But we can ascertain some insight from Tau and Render. Those are the two flagship projects. Look at what we see here. We see a clear-cut Adam and Eve double bottom pattern. This is showing the relationship between buyers and sellers. The sellers taking control rapidly, but the buyers meet them with equal force in the Adam first bottom. And then we get a more rounded, almost like a cup and handle, slow battle of control between the buyers and the sellers. And once the sellers are exhausted and their forces have been depleted, that's when you get your parabolic upside. It's psychology combined with macros. It's our hybrid method. So we're going to be looking for that chart structure throughout our picks as we roll through. Starting at the top, and this one unlocks an entire narrative that a lot of people are just starting to touch base on. This is centrifuge. Zooming in on the use case here. Centrifuge is a platform for real-world assets tokenized on the Ethereum virtual machine. That means directly the tokenization of Wall Street, which is happening as we speak. Anyone who's been checking the new listings, you've been seeing it's stock after stock turning up again and again. And this trend is just going to continue as 2026 after the Clarity Act, everything. This project, technically, look at the structure here. So we've got that February 6th jobs report, which was the bottom on the total 3 chart. And on Bitcoin's chart, there's that February 6th bottom, starting the consolidation on the Adam and Eve we just looked at on Tau and Render. What's different about centrifuge is it's already starting to show bullish consolidation. This is getting ready to break out in a major way. Now, although these look like wicks, and we've already had 2 successful trading plans to get in on this project before one of these giant rips to the upside, it's basically a double up. It looks like that's just a wick to the upside. It lasts 12 hours. So it's holding price up there for half a trading day and then selling back off, really consolidating. And that is getting ready for a monumental breakout, coming with the liquidity restoration from the TGA, like they're explaining in this Milk Road document. And in order for that to happen, all this government shutdown mumbo jumbo has to finally clear up. And it looks like that's going to take place right at the FOMC minutes on April 8th. So there'll be a sharp pullback to the downside and then a rapid recovery to the upside. And centrifuge and that entire narrative, putting stocks on chain, this is a target project, undoubtedly. Traded on Coinbase. When it's on Coinbase, we know it's good. Obviously, Hyperliquid, there's a lot to say about the structure of Hyperliquid here. It's using May 15th. That's a very important trend line as we're gauging how high projects can go. It's using this as support, finally breaks out here at that March 6th jobs report. Obviously, Hyperliquid, that's a go-to, consolidating on top of support right now. Aerodrome. This one undoubtedly correlated with the passing of the Clarity Act. We can see Brian Armstrong. He's in there arguing for Coinbase, base the token, and thus Aerodrome, which is the top DEX in base. The Clarity Act bill has a ton of wording regarding perpetual swaps. Excuse me, not perpetual, but swaps like Aerodrome. Decentralized exchanges. So once the Clarity Act is released, and with this liquidity restoration, it's right on the horizon. Congress has a 6-week deadline to release that. Aerodrome, ready to rally to the upside. Now, this is the exact same narrative as we were just looking at with centrifuge. What are we talking about here? Monad. This is a new listing. It's built by quants from Jump Street. So these guys understand what they need to build this layer 1 for. It's ready to scale the immense volume from tokenizing stocks. So this is a good hodl, and these discount lows that we're at right now, just like Tau, just like Render, we can see a very clear Adam and Eve consolidation as the sellers are finally exhausted and their forces deplete. Now we're going to get a parabolic move to the upside, and these high value discount entries are going to be gone. Great time to start building a position in April when that downside finally takes place. Now here we're starting to get into more nuanced projects. Now we're starting to get into the low cap section. Much different than the high caps we were just talking about. We can see a bottom finally forming on Aether. This had a ton of VC backing. One of the reasons why it's seen so much downside, I was reviewing this project with our trading group here at the tower. So we're talking about money market managers, one guy who owns a crypto exchange overseas. And we came to the notion that there were so many VCs involved, there'd be an early downside from all the token unlocks. They need to get their piece of the pie. Now that that's taken place, we're ready to see a reversal and some upside. Again, it's showing that nice bottoming formation, that rounded bottom there. There's a 24-point report on this project inside VIP. Zebek. All the hype around Zebek started in our VIP group. We released the first trading plan across all of social media back here. Why? Because Zebek is a cross-border payment system. Therefore, knowing that tariffs were going to start, the reason why we sold our bag at the top of the 2024-2025 peak was because we knew tariffs were coming. Having that insight allowed us to vet projects. We came up with a list of 3. And then our VIP members in Discord sorted it out, found something super bullish about Zebek, and then it started gaining popularity later to do a rip-roaring almost 10x upside. Zooming in on the local price action here, we can see that labor market print low, sideways consolidation, very similar to Siren, and here we have a bull flag. Just waiting for another leg up to get on top of take profit level 1. Right here, that's that PPI on the 30th. Tau has already cleared 2 PPI levels, the 30th and the 14th. Render stopped at PPI level 1. That's take profit level 1. For Bitcoin, that's your 84,000. AIXBT. As we're scrolling down the market caps, these get higher risk, higher reward, undoubtedly. AIXBT has been making a huge pivot into the X402 narrative. So with virtuals, with AIXBT, all we're getting there is a chatbot. Doesn't really have a lot of function. Coinbase, with the assistance of Clanker, released a whole new type of AI agent. They can now use wallets to make transactions online. And that pivot is huge. Using our 24-point checklist inside our VIP trading group, we dug into AIXBT's GitHub page and found out the coders, the team, they're working hard right now into a pivot towards X402 wallet transactions. This has tested take profit level 1 with the AI CapEx narrative on the horizon. Inside this FOMC minutes, it's saying directly, it's going to be artificial intelligence. This is why Tau, Render, these have been stacking the most gains in the top 100, and everything else is in the dust. The institutional level traders are using this to front run retail. And what we're doing inside our trading group and on this channel is we're beating retail to the punch. How many people would like to rewind the clock, realize Tau was about to break out, and load up down here for the incoming bull run? It's too late. You had to be on top of it by reading the FOMC minutes. AIXBT, ready for some upside. Can you guys hear? Somebody's saying that there's a problem with the microphone. Testing. We're about to jump into the #1 pick. Can you hear it? Copy, over. Excellent. Thanks, Golden Cycle. Yeah, that may have been the clip from the Peach Fuzz Mafia where the audio was bound. I apologize for that. Now we're going to unlock the trade that I'm taking right now. And this trade has a detailed research to it, in my opinion. This project is ready for upside in the near future and in the worst case scenario as the bull run starts to unfold. Remember what's taking place on April 8th, in mid-April. It's the Treasury General account. That's what the government is arguing about time and time again. They're trying to figure out where they're going to send this money from everybody's taxes. Is it going to go to TSA? Is it going to go to ICE? Is it going to go to these AI sector projects, which according to the FOMC, it absolutely is. This quote inside the FOMC document released on December 30th, just 90 days ago, developments regarding artificial intelligence have contributed to volatility of the stock prices of the largest tech companies. And they go on to explain the AI capex, how much money they're borrowing from the banking system. The exact same system that the government shut down way back here in October created thin liquidity too. So once that liquidity is restored, it's the AI sectors that are going to get the lion's share of it. Starting with the flagship projects like Tau. That ship already sailed. Render, starting to consolidate right under the first take profit level, January 30th PPI. A breakout above as this liquidity restoration is complete from the Treasury General account. This is a huge pivot that the majority of retail's just not waiting for. Now, what my research is showing is we're going to get a breakout on Clanker very soon. Of course, BankerBot was a project we were able to capture the upside to just recently. When that broke out, was at a durable goods print. Durable goods stands for automation. This did a 5x upside. Jumping over to the virtuals chart, virtuals on chain right now, they haven't been releasing any tokens. They've been doing 1 token a day for 90 days in a row. It's really starting to die down, but we add the durable goods prints to virtuals to show how a top AI agent launchpad reacts to a durable goods print. And this is all happening, this information about AI in the world economy, which the institutional level traders will use to dictate their flow of capital, where they're going to invest. That's coming out, bada bang, on April 7th. And that's a schedule change. So we got the President of the United States jumping in on this. He just changed the Iran deadline. He's like, hey, guess what? We won't bomb you guys as long as you agree to such and such April 6th. And that's not a coincidence, because last Treasury General account, there was all these mysterious ceasefires taking place here and here, right around the TGA refill, helping markets pivot to the upside. So I'm not surprised that there's a huge conflict date aligning with our projected pivot point. And then, of course, there's the FOMC minutes. That's just step one to vetting Clanker. So we've got the banker bot trade. Banker bot is almost a fork of Clanker. It has some slight adjustments. VVV, that's another AI project that's been running. It's got a lot in common with BankerBot because they both charge a monthly fee. For VVV, it's to use their ChatGPT. For BankerBot, it's to launch tokens. Clanker has an entirely different model, less in tune with the MSCI regulation, which is huge. And one of the reasons why Monad and Centrifuge, those are high conviction trading plans for this pivot point because of that Morgan Stanley regulation. They're trying to force a pivot away from meme coins. They're trying to force a pivot away from crypto's self-licking ice cream cone. They want to see businesses that are using blockchain technology to enhance and better themselves. That's all they want to see. And they're going to regulate the heck out of it until they get there. But this Clanker rabbit hole, you guys, it's about to get scary how deep this goes. So we covered the X402 ecosystem. This is allowing these AI agents to use wallets. Virtuals can't do that. AIXBT, it's working on it. So this is huge, massive pivot. And with that comes Clawbot and all these Claw projects. They're AI agents that can make on-chain transactions. People are using them to beat Polymarket. They're using them to trade cryptos. The founders of Clanker, they helped build Coinbase. Meta, as in Facebook, as in Mark Zuckerberg, they just purchased one of these Clawbot Clanker AI agents. Can you believe that? The project is Maltbook. Facebook just bought Maltbook. What Maltbook does is it allows these AI agents to chat with each other, share information. Let's say you've got an AI agent that's a specialty in baseline tennis betting. And he's got all this stacks of information, the different courts that are clay, the different courts that are dirt. It goes on Maltbolt, and now you've got just a general sports gambling AI agent whose user is trying to beat this tennis game in France. It then goes, hey, sell me your information. So it's not just scrolling Google, right? It wants this custom information. Boom. So Facebook just bought one of the Clawbots from Clanker. That alone is huge. Clanker just expanded onto BNB just days ago, March 13th. And then the coup d'etat to top it all off, and there's an article about this, starting on March 1st, 3 wallets have been absorbing an enormous supply of Clanker. Because of that, a lot of you guys are in the Caspa community. You remember the slogan, get your Caspa off the exchanges, because this can force the market makers to purchase more, creating a parabolic bid-ask spread. we've got the wallets right here. It's wallet 2, wallet 4, and wallet 5. And we'll look at their buying patterns right now. 28 days ago, they bought 70,000 Clanker. And then they kept adding about 2,000 Clanker all the way up to 24 hours ago. They just added an additional 2,000 Clanker, and they're taking it all off Coinbase. This is likely a big hedge fund, some institutional investment firm, knowing that they're manipulating the price action. The top 100 wallets all have at least 1,000 tokens. That's about $25,000 USD value. That's the amount it takes to open a day trading account in the stock market. So there's a lot of tokens. In fact, 82.5% ultimately locked up. They're not going anywhere. These big holders with over 1,000 tokens, we're waiting for the monster breakout. Facebook seemingly likes the technology, but we'll get into the AI agents and some real nitty-gritty praise in a second. Plus, I want to hear what you guys have been pulling up in your research. And this is all going to go down in the very near future. Remember, we started uploading February 10th, right around Valentine's Day, because there was a pivot in the macro calendar. You guys remember that? It was suddenly, well, on February 18th, they're going to be changing the game. They just did a huge schedule pivot. For the entire government shutdown in 2025, they closed the macro books. That was so detrimental to cryptocurrency. And they came out with these surprise inflation data that they would release suddenly with no heads up. That happened on January 14th. And again, on January 30th. Although with January 30th, they gave about a 10-day advance. Both of those inflations, very high, caused downside. So on February 18th, about a week in advance, they changed the schedule. They're going to take the durable goods, which is directly monitoring robotics, artificial intelligence. This is clearly what's been causing massive upside in virtuals. It was actually the exact tip top back here in May. Virtuals, one of my profitable coins from 2025. Despite the bear market last year, I was profitable in Caspa, virtuals, and other coins just from using this macro insight. We didn't make tons, but it's better than taking tons of loss. So originally we're thinking, oh, obviously they changed the macro schedule because they want to get a rally. The data just didn't support that. The minutes was very neutral. And the durable goods, that also tracks military systems. So we've got one number showing growth, another number showing crisis. We need them to both align in the same direction with the conflict overseas and the labor market print, which was the catalyst that just broke out Tau and Render. Also, I believe that Sirens broke out at that March 6th labor market print. We can see right there, boom, same exact thing for Tau. They're consolidating, and then that labor market print comes out, and what it's showing, tons of people are getting replaced in their job by AI agents. It's right in the data. There were articles across macroeconomic news. Not only that, guess what? So this entire time they've been treasury printing, getting liquidity back from the government shutdown. That's what PAL's primary mission has been. That's how we are able to put together the river trading plans. getting exposure to a 30x upside, not from tracking the narratives like the Peach Fuzz Mafia is pumping around social media, but from tracking the Fed data. And we're getting it with bullseye accuracy. What they're saying from studying the Treasury bill repurchases is that they're overstocked. Part of the reason they're able to get overstocked is instead of doing regular quantitative easing with your long-term bonds, this time they're doing Treasury bills. And we can see this. This is something we do inside VIP. It's super nerdy above the shoulders, but this has helped out time and time again with identifying swing lows for the broader altcoin market when they're doing a big Treasury auction. This is going to pull liquidity away from altcoins, specifically stablecoin projects like River. We already took profit inside VIP, so there was a token unlock, and now you got all these Treasury bill auctions. This is pulling money out of their pocket and into Treasury bills. That's ultimately what runs the market in the first place. We can see down here, bada bang, aligning with the upcoming state of events. Look at these auctions. A 3-year. And then we've also got some more long-term bonds and an additional schedule. So that's going to divert a lot of money out. They want to buy these bonds before the next rate cut. Adding catalyst to this huge cluster here. So whoever's been buying all this clanker, they just started doing it on March 1st, and they're continuously doing it. In the event you have clanker on Coinbase, you might want to move that over to cold storage. There's a link in the description. You can get $10 off. You can get a nice cold storage card. You don't even have to write down a seed phrase. This project is ready for a parabolic breakout, in my opinion. At least the size of BankerBot. Hopefully the size of Siren. So zooming in on here, using our macro technique, let's say we had Siren on our radar. Would we have been able to put together a trading plan for this? Absolutely. Look at what happens with macros on the Siren chart. Remember, all that consolidation started right at the February 6th jobs report. Look at what happened for Siren. It got a big spike in price and then starts ramping up, creating a bull flag right around that February 18th date we were super bullish on. This is definitely a buy signal. Way back here. So that's one that flew under our nose, but we have captured, using this technique, a ton of these breakouts. And it does look like clanker undoubtedly is up next. And along with that, we can start to get into the low cap AI agents. Moltbook looks like it's at a low now, but with everything, I would wait until mid-April. There should be some huge volatility coming. Let's jump into the comments. Yeah, the Peach Fuzz Mafia was mooted. And of course, that's one of the reasons why the Peach Fuzz Mafia has a huge advantage on social media. They're up to date on how to create the most highly sophisticated, advanced video editing. Meanwhile, they are actually kids that live in their parents' basement, trying to teach people how to make money trading. Banker was a good call. Key point there is we are able to time the entry to the exact day that it breaks out. That's something that no other trading style is going to allow you to do, except for using our macroeconomics. The breakout actually taking place at a durable goods print right there on Monday. showing a ton of growth. And it was within 18 hours that started to rip to the upside. Huge gains. Clanker saw some chop, saw some action as well. Clanker's big move is to come, in my opinion. That is an awesome question and something that we're going to answer first inside VIP because there's a time scale on how we can process and release this information. When that FOMC document gets released, we're going to have to vet it for keywords. We're going to have to compare how much they're talking about AI CapEx versus their treasury repurchasing program, and then evaluate the setup. Is it more favorable to go for these stablecoin projects like River at this up and coming April low that even the president of the US is now lining up big events for? The durable goods on the 7th, the minutes on the 8th, and the president just added a new catalyst for the 6th, just stacking the deck. We're getting ready for a huge breakout here in the event everything goes bullish and then the Treasury General Account unleashes that liquidity back into the economy. So it can go either way. And we'll process that inside VIP first, break it down, and then later let everybody know on the channel. Congratulations for taking the trade. We're just brainstorming the ideas and giving you guys the piece by piece breakdown on why these trading plans are supported by federal data, by technical analysis, by on-chain information like the River Take Profit. We already took Take Profit on River right around here because there's a token unlock and because there are treasury auctions. So it's on you for taking the trade. Jesse, thanks for the live stream. Agent Zero Token, AOT, just launched a V1 with a plugin marketplace and chart shows a major move ahead. Let's check it out. Agent Zero. Oh, yeah. I've seen this project before. Beautiful chart pattern here. Is this listed on Crypto Rank? No. So this is a deck screener. Look at this beautiful cup and handle right here. And we can see, boom, there's that February 6th labor market print. That's what caused the spike up in Siren. That's what caused the total 3, the Bitcoin chart to consolidate. And now we've got, this is almost identical to Caspa's 2023 pattern. We had the April spike here. We had this beautiful long-lasting cut pattern. This is great from a technical standpoint and supported by our macroeconomics. Thanks for the trade idea. That's Agent Zero, A0T. Awesome. Good question. A lot of these AI agents, they have been moving with breakneck speeds directly at these macroeconomic events. So AI agents right now are hot. Typically, we're going to see a time delay. So first, the flagship projects like Tau move, and then the AI agents break out. But I would say that these are good to go, ready for breakout over the next 45-day period. Since you mentioned AIXBT, I'm going to pull out some VIP information, take you guys behind the paywall, and really let you get a look at what our research is showing, because this is going to help you from a big picture as well. when you're vetting AI agents? Okay, so we're inside our research. We do this with our 24-point checklist. One entire section of our VIP group, it comes in printouts. So the VIP checklist, something you should keep in your trading journal. We've also got a form where you can just copy, paste it, and punch it into like ChatGPT to make sure that you bring up every question. All right. People are like, oh, I can do this with ChatGPT. Are you sure you're asking the right questions? Here's one of them. Check the GitHub page. This is step 3 of our 24-point checklist. By checking the GitHub, we can see what the super nerds are doing, what the coders are up to. And what the coders are doing is they're aligning AI XBT with X402 wallet trading. This is a huge narrative. It's one of the reasons why Virtuals is not getting a ton of on-chain activity right now, but Clanker is. It can be a huge catalyst and pivot point for an upcoming bull run in the AI sector, the AI agent launchpads or the individual agents. So because they're working on this pivot, what I'm inspecting as the market starts to play out, booyakah, suddenly there's an announcement. Now the Peach Fuzz Mafia figured out what us, these smart money traders, already know. They've been working on a pivot. Now AIXBT isn't a chatbot. It can trade, essentially. By the way, back to Clanker, that just reminded me. Grok is a millionaire. Guess how he got all his money? What project was behind it? What technology did they use? Grok's a millionaire because of that. Clanker and AIXBT. So it's big. Epic Chad level call outs. And the thing about crypto is, it's just like playing poker profitably. It's super boring, right? Everyone makes it out to be the most exciting, action-packed thing. Doing this correctly is tedious, extremely boring, and because it's so boring, it takes a ton of self-discipline. Inside the trading university that I've been building, and we've been dropping some sneak peeks for everybody inside VIP, we really want to break down, in order to hit these Chad level callouts, like when we took profit here and planned to do so 45 days in advance, when we took profit directly at the top of the fake altcoin season, because Powell stepped out and said, oh, it's May 15th. The market's going to crash. Powell's speech, super bearish. From reading all these FOMC minutes, we've been able to get into best swing trade of the year, over half a dozen trading plans for it. We vetted it using our 24-point trading system, which is back to what AIXBT is saying. It may not be a fully verified 24-point gem, but point number 3, we got big news ahead. So thanks for the compliment. And really, the crypto community is thanking you, because just like we did in the Caspa community, we're trying to pivot people away from nonsense and into real trading, because it's ultimately a group think. That's why we're all on social media. Share ideas, share theories to get those awesome trades. Remember that feeling the last time everything lined up for us and we got a huge payday? We're all hunting for that, and we're doing it together. That's what social media crypto is all about. AIA. Okay, this is a new listing. I have seen this, but it's below 10 million market cap. So typically we're going to be trading things that are 10 million market cap and above, but let's zoom in here and take a look. D-Agent AI is an AI base layer dedicated to building a decentralized network platform. What I'm doing right now is seeing how connected this is with macroeconomic events. This is a great way to gauge if the project still has life in it. Why? Because it shows, are the institutional investors still positioning on it? Because it's the institutional investors that are going to buy stuff at a jobs report like they did with Tao when they're starting to prove, hey, AI is taking over the labor marketplace. Obviously, right? Tao, duh. And then we can verify that again through their documents they release. So what we want to see here when we're vetting any project just on the surface level is how this is reacting with local macroeconomic events. It got some nice upside after the December 30th FOMC minutes. That's good. Back here, this was right around when Siren was really starting to develop its bull flag. It spiked. Siren spiked up on February 6th at the labor market print. That's when everything started to do their atom formation and the Adam and Eve consolidation, Bitcoin total 3. So this is showing some upside right around those February events. I believe this was CPI. So it's responding to inflation. That's pretty good. And then it's just continuing consolidation here. Can it get back up to this level in January? Absolutely. What's the market cap? 2 million? 10 million. The volume's 2. Absolutely. It's on MEXC? Yeah. How many people? It's on 308 watch lists. Absolutely. So I definitely just hang up, and you might get a surprise over the next 45 days. This isn't a bad project at all. Still has a pulse. There's other projects that are just, they're dead in the water. This is not dead in the water. Quantum, privacy, XNT. All right, I can't find that on Crypto Rank. I will say this, when you're dealing with quantum privacy, that narrative, what does that fall into? Crypto's self-licking ice cream cone, just a bit, right? It's crypto for the sake of crypto, something that we want to pivot away from since the Morgan Stanley regulation. We want to get into projects that are just a normal business that are using blockchain to enhance themselves. Okay? This is a bit crypto for the sake of crypto for my liking. So that narrative for me doesn't do it here in April. Later, when quantum computing starts becoming a hot topic, sure. Kite's something that I've been watching for VIP, but it kind of got away from us, so we haven't been able to get a great entry. As you guys know, we like to verify what's good and get it before it even breaks out. Kite's been running, and here we go. We got that pullback. So this is on a watch list for me. It's on 2 watch lists. You can see by this star here. Coinbase Ventures. This is a great project. It's got a big market cap. Is it listed on Coinbase? I believe it is. No, it's listed on Binance. So we're looking for a pullback here on top of our macros, which we've already discussed the timeline there. Let's get into some technicals that we can run alongside our macros. And these are technicals that we've been successful with, particularly with AI. Just to show you an example, we'll go to this Tau trading plan. Tau's at the bottom. We're obviously using repeating trend lines. And something else we use huge here is stochastics, particularly when you get the fast line in blue, that's going to carve a path that the slow line in orange is going to take. We've had a lot of success using stochastics throughout the years and just recently with this trending sector AI. So first thing that we want to do is see if we can establish a macro support line. Just like our take profit level 1 and 2, just show you how effective this is on Tau and Render. This has been our take profit level 1. We've had this established when the project was still consolidating. For Bitcoin, it's 84,000. Notice how Render went right up to that January 30th surprise PPI and just bounced off the top side of it. Another event, the May 15th inflation line. Remember, across every chart, it's just been bouncing off the top side. So what we're going to do on Kite right now to see if there's a breakout is we're going to zoom in. We're going to take a look at these levels. There's that May 15th macro trend line. Now, the way that works is the institutional investors, which is what our whole concept is around trading with these guys, they've already got take profit and purchase levels set out based on these macro prints. And so here with Tau, when we zoom in on the breakout, it used that January 30th PPI, and then again, the second take profit level, January 14th, they used that like a ping pong ball machine. Just proving how effective this tactic, which we're about to apply to Kite, is. So what we're looking for is events that can provide support. And right away, what do we see? That February 6th consolidation. And this is going to be a range. So right around 12. That's February 6th right there. On total 3 and on Bitcoin. So huge event, the start of this consolidation. Therefore, Kite can still consolidate back down to this range. And undoubtedly, with the Treasury General Account first withdrawing cash from our taxes from the banking system, plus the government shutdown, that's going to cause a liquidity crisis, which is why the market's at such a low in the first place. And then it's going to turn around reverse and we get a rally to the upside. So Kite's a go, reevaluate, of course, at those macroeconomic dates. And this is a range we're looking at for inside VIP. So this is on a VIP watch list that I'm covering, ready to get my guys in on this project at the best price. Because unless you were already at it early, you missed it. And so one of the biggest mistakes traders make is trading this top range. We want to cash out and then exercise our patience. And we're going to get into how to do that effectively inside our Trader University, which is taking tons of time. As we can see, all these green emojis on Coinbase, massive breakouts, the exact same thing on Coinbase and Caspa. It's kind of a phenomenon. But there's a time and a place to take profits in on your hands throughout 2025, despite it being super bearish. I just did my taxes, my Caspa trades profitable for the year. And we already went over those trading plans piece by piece, why we did them. Really simple stuff. And ultimately, it's 2 buys, 2 sells, and a lot of waiting over a whole year. We're doing 1 in and out and then another in and out. So lots of waiting. So we're waiting on Kite. Good question and great pick, by the way. Okay, we're getting into pump fun here. I like it. We're getting super degen. Let's see what's up. For this, we're going to immediately bring out our deck screener, I presume. Checking out pump fun. Strait of Hormuz. There we go. Undoubtedly, this would be a short at that April 6th event, the Iran oil deadline, something that Trump just threw into the mix. Kind of like when Elon Musk did Dogecoin. Remember, then he went on Saturday Night Live and it all dumped. You see all these influencers that are going to do big boxing matches and they're running a coin on pump fund. It runs up, the fight happens, and then it dumps. Same thing with this project. On April 6th, I would say that that would be downside. So if you're in that trade, watch out, because it's got that Dogecoin, buy the rumor, sell the news setup. Been checking out your channel for a while. You offer information that no one really talks about. A lot of value here. Thank you very much. And it's actionable trading insight. To prove that we are not insane, I will point out another YouTube channel that also covers this information. This guy, he leans into stocks too. For one, meet Kevin. You guys may or may not watch Meet Kevin. He's the only other trader I found online that was able to capture the May 15th event. Although, guess what? Kevin on May 15th, and that ended up becoming that huge trend line across Tau, across virtuals. It's the May 15th trend line. It's on Caspa. It's like the biggest resistance in the world. Once May 15th happened, these projects could never get over the top of it. You can check any chart, Caspa, you name it. May 15th is like a showstopper. Meet Kevin thought it was bullish, so he kind of read it wrong. So I did a video with Meet Kevin on the thumbnail, and then after that, I hypothesize he jumped into our VIP group because he changed the way he started doing his FOMC meetings. He started playing FOMC bingo, which is very similar to our sliding scale in his own unique way. And that's definitely not stealing. Kevin's awesome, super smart guy, and he's just looking for a little creative inspiration, which is something you got to have. Okay, here comes another channel that's great at doing what we do. This guy's from England. So interestingly enough, he studies United States macroeconomics. He applies it a lot to stocks. He also applies it to crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, your top, maybe some XRP. He doesn't take it all the way into the altcoins like we do. But if you guys are looking for another channel to watch, boom. He also has a university teaching how to use macroeconomics, just like we do. Arthur Hayes, somebody who sold the top like our Chad callouts. I mean, that was written on the wall, guys. They did a dot plot vote here. Originally, they were going to do a bunch of rate cuts in 2025. They vote on it, say nope. And in the FOMC minutes, they're like, oh, look out, there's going to be tons of inflation. We're looking at massive downside. So that was like one of the easiest callouts in all time. All of social media missed it. This one just came out of nowhere. It wasn't scheduled or anything. Suddenly, Powell's on TV, and he's crushing the market. That later became a huge event. So it's important to have somebody watching your back. Once this market gets up and going, once we're in the swing of things, you definitely want people watching your back. I'll leave a comment with that May 15th insight from our VIP. Just telling everybody, heads up. We've got problems coming. This is like on the day, the very instant. We only had like an hour to digest it. Oh yeah, Tau is super bullish because inside the FOMC documents, they're talking about artificial intelligence CapEx. This means the entire banking sector liquidity, right from Satoshi's design, he built Bitcoin around the banking system. That's every 4 years it waxes and wanes. This time, when it's waning back to the upside AI is absorbing tons of that, like a milkshake straw. They're just slurping up this liquidity. But from the government shutdowns, starting back in fall, all of this stuff's been delayed. The AI sector, the altcoins, they can't get their hands on the money they need to grow. But we're looking at a huge pivot as that money gets back into place. The pump fund token is still doing buybacks, still making a ton of daily revenue, and the meme coin sector still has a ton of daily value. What do you think of the token when the bull run returns? With these projects that last a while, there's always a cycle. There's upside and downside. I would wait for this rally to cool off. This has been pretty astronomical, and I can tell already that you've captured a lot of upside. And then see how this plays out. This can also fade from current events. Meme coins isn't something that I specifically specialize in, although I would definitely watch out for a buy the rumor, sell the news event with Trump's new April 6th deadline. Injective is heavily linking with AI in the past few months. Do you think Injective will pump back to 50 in the next few weeks? Great question.
Good question.
Injective in a gigantic falling wedge. Now, because the Fed has been constantly doing quantitative tightening, that chart does look a bit frightening. It's just massive downside. But remember, the Fed's been just slurping liquidity out of the system this entire time. With their initial QE pump right here to restore liquidity to the banking center because it was like Circle Bank and some regional banks in California having a massive issue, that fueled an altcoin rally along with the Fed pivoting out of their super hawkish mode. No, that's completely unrealistic. This is like a 250. We're talking, this is a store of value project, first of all, very similar to Caspa. In order for the store of value projects to get upside, one of the reasons why we had a lackluster bull run in 2024, 2025, from 2023 compared to COVID lockdowns. Solana, one of the top performing projects, does like a 20x. Caspa, 10, 20x from, depending on where you bought it. Right around here's when the Fed started to really pivot after that April quantitative easing. The reason the bull run's so lackluster is because the entire time the Fed's been doing quantitative tightening. That's not a bull run. We need to see quantitative easing. That means that the Fed needs to rebuild their balance sheet. And throughout this entire cycle, whenever the Fed releases word that they're going to start doing that in any way, shape, or form, I'll show you with these FOMC minutes. This isn't the meetings where Powell was originally earlier in that cycle. In those meetings, Powell would talk about the state of liquidity. He'd be like, we're going to stop rate hikes, or we're going to stop quantitative tightening, or slow it down at least. And he would say that right in a meeting, which would be a catalyst for crypto. Recently, they've been talking more about mainstream economy, more about inflations, more about the politics of the economy. Some people could even say the Fed is starting to go woke a bit. What we're seeing, the primary catalyst for crypto is changing from the meetings to the minutes. Even for Coinbase, look, all those green emojis are when Powell was saying something bullish for crypto, causing Caspa to rocket. Did the same thing for Coinbase stock. What the pivot was, recently it hasn't been the meetings. Now it's the minutes, which is the document they release showing what's happening behind the scenes. That's where they're talking about the liquidity, the plumbing of the banking system. And that's the high impact catalyst for crypto. Again, that's where we're pulling all this insight out to make our trading plans. That's what's about to happen on April 8th. Look at April 8th of last year during the Treasury General Account refill. Also, conflict between Russia and Ukraine, ceasefire here, ceasefire here. Durable goods print, because Apple and all these companies are stocking up on cell phones because they know tariffs are coming. That's why you're seeing all these giveaways with Apple specifically. You can buy one, get one free because they ordered too many. The minutes talk about that liquidity. So in order for Injective and your store of value crypto projects, including Bitcoin, to really start to rocket, we need to see quantitative easing happen. Now, what they've been doing is soft QE, treasury bill repurchases. The hard QE isn't going to come until 2028 when they finally meet their 2% inflation deadline. Powell talks about in the meetings that all the time. It used to be 2027. That's when they were anticipating we would get 2% inflation again, fixing all the inflation from COVID. Now it's 2028. I'll give you this. For 2026, Injective can go back to 14. That's the May 15th line. That's that huge inflation date. Powell came out and he said, yeah, we're going to change inflation policy. He bluffed the market. They didn't end up doing anything, but it created this huge tariff inflation line. And what the Fed's been saying inside the minutes is, and in the meetings as well, they believe they'll be able to defeat tariff-based inflation by late summer. That means Injective to 14, Caspa to 12. I also think hype will rip all-time highs when the market flips. Hype only goes so far. From a retail perspective, in the event hype actually moved the markets, we would have gotten a bull run back in 2025, but we didn't, because the institutional investors run the show, because macroeconomics and the Fed, from controlling the liquidity, both on a big picture with quantitative easing of long-term bonds, all the way down to the repo market from bank to bank, that is what controls the market. In our recent videos, we were pulling up all these timing points, like right here, September 15th, they had a TGA drawdown. Market downside, and then upside as that money is replenished. But there was a liquidity crisis from the government shutdown. The Morgan Stanley regulation, starting on October 10th, took advantage of that liquidity crisis, maximizing the impact to crypto. Now, depending on how the macroeconomic prints come out, and these can stop a trend right mid-breakout. Just to show you an example, this is PCE inflation. We were ripping to the upside as the Fed started pivoting out of hawkish policy back in 2023, early 2024. We get a double top, which is often what we see with the Fed, and we see high PCE inflation on these double tops. A double top here again, more condensed with liquidity. And all these emojis for macroeconomics, they completely vanished for like 90 days because of the government shutdown, throwing institutional investors, trading algorithms off. It's actually going to come down to the macro data, my friend. That's what's going to affect the magnitude of this bull run. And let me tell you something right now. Retail is completely checked out of the market right now. Looking at Virtual Bacon, he's got 1 million subscribers. Everybody's watched this guy's show. It's super cool. His views are falling down to 6,000, 7,000 just recently. That's in tune with views that we would get on this channel with only 10,000 subscribers. And you can see this across social media. They just did an article about how the keyword crypto on Google is completely crashing. This guy's channel, views are crashing. Retail's out. This is an institutional level rally, hands down. Let's check out some more picks. Remember, guys, this has got nothing to do with me. Never have any of our Chad level callouts or awesome trading plans ever been based on my skills or opinion. It's all from this system. Everything we do is as systematic as possible. That's why we have a 24-point checklist that we use to certify all these swing trades. We go through all 24 points and we use our macroeconomic insight. We verify it with these documents. Really, I'm everybody's secretary. I'm doing all the paperwork for everybody in our trading group so they can research what they want, build their own Claude bots, explore their own meme coins. People hire me on to, one, learn this if they're new to macroeconomic trading or when they're experienced, just to have somebody do all their work for them, study all this stuff and just get it ready to read, cutting their work time down by hours a day. So thank you, but I've got to give credit to the system we use, which was taught to me by Roaring Kitty from the GameStop phenomenon. I can show you guys my GameStop trade right here. In GameStop way back in the day. Inside Roaring Kitty's VIP group, where he taught me how to correlate macroeconomics to our trading plans through stocks. And then later we were able to pivot this into crypto investing. Welcome to the group. Make sure you subscribe and share with your friends the amount of insight we have to share with everyone from this trading system handed to me from Roaring Kitty. We've been refining it. The importance of macroeconomics. We will be jumping in. Any more life left in Tau? Great question. Getting into Tau. Ultimately, the best time to get into Tau was before that labor market print sent it rocketing to the upside. To get to the May 15th tariff inflation trend line, which has halted Tau plenty of times before. There's May 15th. We got stomped out on June. We ended up wicking above it, which is very bullish. Actually, after the government shutdown, which is pretty amazing. Tau, because of the AI capex, has a strong chance to flip the May 15th trend line early. I would wait for volatility, specifically in April, to get a drawback in Tau. And yes, there's tons of upside in Tau. Keep in mind, this 2026 bull run is definitely going to be mitigated. There's going to be a larger bull run when they finally unlock the long-term bond quantitative easing. And there's a new Fed chair stepping in that can repivot everything and send Tau flying. Since you asked, I'll show you a Tau AI agent, Tau bot. So with Tau, you've got these subnets that handle different functions for the artificial intelligence. One of them does sports. This project, Talbot, is a launch pad for people to trade those subnets. And then when you get into subnet trading, that's a whole nother niche specifically around Tau. Yeah, I would wait until April to catch some additional downside. In the event we get down to take profit level 1, which is the January 30th PPI, that's an automatic buy. Although take profit level 2 can definitely hold the line. Yeah, Tau's always a go-to project. Xano. Let's check it out. Zora, I've heard of, but looking at the on-chain metrics for Zora, Clanker's got it beat. 150 million market cap, low volume, which is a trend that's ongoing. Good price action recently. Let's see what exchanges this is listed on. MEXC. Okay, let's check out the use case. It's a layer 1 blockchain focused on privacy for e-commerce. This is in line with the MSCI regulation. Therefore, we're going to give this a green light of approval just from a 5-minute review. Unlike the ideas for quantum trading, that's got nothing to do with MSCI regulation. Morgan Stanley stepped in really hard on October 10th, causing this downside. The ruling is deferred, so at any time, they can step in and do another MSCI regulation. The projects that are in line with it have a much better chance of surviving that without massive downside. Seeing how your project is based around e-commerce, absolutely. Let's take a look at the team. Okay, the team isn't listed. Let's take a look at the price action locally to see what macroeconomic events it's most correlated to. So there was a lot of downside here. It was really a fake out. So we saw this February 26th. So this was the FOMC minutes and the durable goods. Let's see if we can get this lined up with a history of macro prints to get better insight for what directions it's heading, because I think we might see a trend here with durable goods reports, which is of course about to happen here any day. Let's clean this chart up and see if we can get that insight here. That's a terrible chart. A little bit better. Let's see if the durable goods even shows up. 1. It looks like this chart may have a connection to the durable goods, therefore can have a catalyst coming up next week. We've got that huge lineup of events, and President Trump just threw the Iran deadline on top of it. We got a durable goods and an FOMC minutes happening right after a jobs report. These are massively high impact events that directly target crypto price action. In the event we hit bullish on these sliding scales, yeah, your project is in line for some action. E-commerce connected with the durable goods. Manufacturing in the United States. Institutional investors are going to want to see manufacturing numbers coming up high. Let me show you some durable goods receipts. They like to see growth or crisis. It can go in either direction. And we split this into defense and transportation. There's multiple different numbers that we want to look at. I believe X transportation, that's going to get you your more hands-on manufacturing. So you want both of these numbers to show growth, and then you're good to go. So yeah, this project's okay. Just from a 5-minute review, pump. As in pump fun. When we're comparing on-chain metrics with other launch pads, pump fun crushing virtuals. I'm going to bring those up right now. So here we have a pay for access inside of Dune, where we get to compare different launch pads, Clanker, virtuals, pump fun. Here we go. So we can see here's pump fun's activity throughout 2025. This is the daily volume. Over here, we have the amount of tokens deployed. Obviously, when retail is engaging in crypto, that's when pump fun's going to rock and roll. Just recently, Clanker, a lot of this is AI agents creating more AI agents, has been almost on par with pump fun. Compared to virtuals, pump fun is bringing it home, or that's Clanker. Virtuals is way down. Pump fun's still good. One thing that we have to watch out for with pump fun is the token unlock schedule. Inside Crypto Rank, we can get an unlock of this. So on April 16th, they're going to release some tokens. We can line that up with some treasury bill auctions as well. Those will already have surpassed. Big picture, the team and the early investors, they're going to unlock this summer. Let's take a look at the statistics. Stochastics on the 1 day, kind of a bear flag all the way down. This is like an RSI that oscillates. Oh yeah, stochastics on the 1 week, super bearish. Just really at a low range. Doesn't look like there's a pivot anytime soon. And the stochastics measures your momentum. You can see right on the pump fund chart, whenever the stochastics is elevated, this is when you're going to get a price peak range. When it's at a low, that's when you're going to get a price dip. Peak, dip. This works on any chart. Peak, dip. And it keeps oscillating back and forth. So right now we're seeing a low. I would definitely wait on this one until May. It doesn't look like this is getting ready for a notable rally and can definitely stay range bound. Zooming in and now aligning pump fund to macros. We've got this atom formation down here. Now remember, what was it? Monad. Monad was another new listing project that we are a little more bullish on. It's Ethereum scaling. It connects with RWA. It connects with AI agents. It's got this same atom downside showing the sellers in control, but the buyers quick to defend. And then we have this slower, almost a cup and handle of the sellers getting exhausted. Once the sellers are completely exhausted, that's when the buyers make their charge and you get your parabolic breakout. And we can see this across trending sectors right now. With pump fund, using that same macro structure, we've got our sharp downside right around the same timeline as Monad, that Ethereum scaling, RWA, and AI sector project. But look at this. Where's the cup formation? The sellers are still in control. The buyers got beat here, man. From a technical analysis standpoint, the buyers are beat. And we can get a leg down. We've been testing this support set back at right around the December 30th FOMC minutes. That was that huge catalyst that we used on River to capture the breakout exactly then. FOMC minutes, December 30th, right? We got multiple swing trades using those treasury auctions down here at like $3, $4, capturing the best swing trade of the year. We always get these good ones. Pump fund, I'm not bullish on because that structure's not there. And we could dig a little bit deeper into the on-chain stuff and just say, yeah, I'd wait. We might get a lower low here through this April TGA drawdown. Definitely wait. We've got a Caspa Maxi. What's up? What's your target for Caspa for 2026 and the entire bull run? 50 cents to $1. What are your thoughts? That is a great question. Caspa is one of our most profitable trading projects. Even in 2025, and I'm going to bring this up for a future video, we were able to be profitable, even though it was in this massive bear market rally. We showed all those trades in yesterday's upload. But when we do a Caspa video, we'll get into more details, and I'll show you the quick version of where we're headed according to the FOMC document, which is what we use to get these Chad level call outs on Caspa every time. The absolute top wasn't just a US FOMC meeting. That was also a Bank of Japan carry trade. And these have plagued Caspa because the institutional level traders who've been investing in it since they unlocked the liquidity back in April, excuse me for the chart disorder, back here, they've been leveraging their cash through the Bank of Japan. That's another video entirely. Since those Bank of Japan carry trades have started, they've been plaguing Caspa. There is one, possibly, it is not set in stone, coming up on April 28th. During the Treasury General Account downside, and it will be very clear to us when they're refilling the Treasury General Account, it should make a V shape exactly at April 8th, April 7th. So when we see that market downside and the news is going to be like, this is it, crypto's over, everything's going to zero, that's when we want to start buying. According to the Fed, Powell's been saying this inside his meetings, and he's also been putting it in the FOMC documents. This is very connected with that May 15th VIP post that I put in the comments. You can pull it up for yourself. That's May 15th. It's on every chart. Tau, render, virtuals. May 15th, because of what Powell did, created this huge resistance line. And this is known as tariff resistance. According to federal documents, we will be able to surpass tariff inflation by late summer. So this is some of the work that I do behind the paywall, which is $47 to join, where I review these FOMC minutes. We also have training on how to do this yourself. So as you're learning, you're in the group, you can kind of bounce ideas around other group members, see what I come up with after doing this for half a decade. Here we go. With the effect of higher tariffs on inflation expected to wane starting around the middle of this year, inflation is projected to return to its disinflationary trend. So the Fed is tackling two big inflation. Inflation from all the money printing they did at COVID, that's postponed to 2028. When they're done with that, that's when we're going to get the huge breakout because they're going to build their balance sheet back. The last time they did real quantitative easing, this is when CASPA came on my radar. We started talking about it on the channel. That's right here. This is the Fed's balance sheet. They've been pulling liquidity out this entire time. So we get back to the 12-cent range by late summer, according to the Fed. This is Tau. Same thing, May 15th. Tau is already getting up to that level. Virtuals, they've all got it. Looking at the total 3 chart, right here, on November 12th, we've got this all in a document inside VIP. That's when the Fed ended their quantitative easing. Now, I'm bringing this up right now because it's so important for CASPA's all-time high, not only timing when they're getting ready to start this quantitative easing, but how much of an impact it has on the market. Right here at an FOMC meeting, they stop quantitative easing, they start quantitative tightening, and they stop rate hikes and they start rate cuts. Or they start, you know what I'm saying? They go from bullish to bearish. Boom, at a meeting right there. And you can see this is the Fed's balance sheet. They are actively taking cash away from crypto, away from the US economy, depleting the job market in the central bank's 4-year cycle, which is how they run their fiat pyramid scheme. And then as the inflation starts to cool off, then they'll start building their balance sheet back. This is, in essence, how Satoshi designed Bitcoin itself. The 4-year halving cycle is built around the central bank's liquidity schemes. This red line dating back to 1968 is when they start pushing the liquidity onto Main Street, now into crypto. Then when the inflation gets too high, everybody's got a job now, the GDP is rising, now they take that back away. So in order for the Fed to do this again, see this black line shows how it really went down, how much liquidity they could actually get out. So for 2024, 2025, we just showed they didn't do anything. It stayed down here the entire time, but they're building up to a big liquidity injection in tariffs and everything that Scott Bessant's working on is going to help that theoretically. By 2028, once they start unlocking these long-term bonds, CASPA as a store of value project first, second, with their on-chain growth, that's when it can really rise. That's when we can see some epic gains. But for this year, as they're working towards this economically, the upside is mitigated. By summer, we're looking at 12 cents, according to the Fed. Just a quick outlook on the market. One more bear flag left. BTC bottoms to 40.50. Consolidation ends around October, and up we go. Thank you, sir.
Good question.
Because I completely agree with everything that you just said. Let's add some depth to that excellent market prediction. So we already know the Treasury General Account is about to happen. This is going to briefly absorb liquidity from the banking system. This is what all the politicians on TV are arguing about. They're all like, well, what are you going to spend the money on? And undoubtedly, according to federal documents we've already pulled up, they're spending it on AI. That's why Tau already broken up to the upside. That's why these rando AI agents like BankerBot and Siren, they just keep ripping. And it's always happening at these macroeconomic events. BankerBot, it was the durable goods. Tau, it was the March 6th jobs report. So we got this bear flag here. In the event, particularly around that jobs report, we get a fake out to the upside. The jobs report, because it's such a high impact event, is known to create fake outs over the weekend. We have this documented in our VIP post. It's called Why Monday Matters. The bond market, the DXY, is all closed, but crypto's open. We can see labor market print comes out here. It is masterfully low. Remember we were saying, get ready, if this labor market print is going to be super low, super bullish, we get a fake out to the downside, and then we get upside. We get a rally. And that can go both ways. So the labor market print comes out, however the data is, we get a fake out to the upside. We bounce off of this resistance line, which we can see has teeth because we can clone it. That's the repeating trend line system. It's a technical analysis method that we use on Tau and on Caspa and tons of other charts from Solana to Bitcoin itself. See these trend lines, how they repeat, and we get insanely good call outs from this. Like on Tau, on top of all of our research into AI, we're also crossing the repeating trend line. Back to the story. What I'm waiting for our VIP members is for this Bitcoin chart to rally back up, get rejected off the bottom of this angled repeating resistance, and then we're getting ready for the Treasury General Account downside for a short sale. Zooming out, big picture, same as Solana. It's a clear-cut head and shoulder pattern. Now, from our study of technical analysis, and we have all of this a click away inside of our VIP trading group, we've got a classic pattern directory. Interestingly enough, a lot of projects will show the exact same pattern at the same time. An example of that, right before the 2024 rate cuts, there was this giant falling wedge on everything. Render, Tau, Render, AVAX, all of these projects, this huge falling wedge. You can see it on the total 3. And then the average upside plays out almost exactly. These double tops here. Right now, what are we seeing? We're seeing the Adam and Eve double bottom that we've shown across Tau and everything else. Back to Bitcoin. So we've got this head and shoulder, just like Solana. I'm not even going to scroll over to it because we've got too many windows, but the head and shoulder pattern does an average downside of minus 70. Measuring that out on Solana, we're bouncing off that with that wick. We're right around that range of minus 70. For Bitcoin, minus 70% from this head and shoulders. Typically, the right shoulder is going to be the weakest shoulder. We're going to be right around 50K. And this aligns with all the macro Treasury General Account, everything that we've got built up for April. So yeah, super fun. Caspa has an inverted cup pattern. I believe we might get a wick down to 2.5 cents, but we're having some really strong consolidation here. 1 cent out of the question. Keep in mind, it's going to be a higher level of accuracy predicting dates and times of these highs or lows. Price is way more subject to variance, although we can get a pretty accurate range. The ultimate dates for the downside on Caspa are, first off, right away, the April 8th Treasury General Account refill In a more bearish scenario, let's say Trump bombs Iran. The durable goods comes out and it has bearish results. The labor market report comes out and it has bearish results. The Bank of Japan carry trade. It'll postpone the entry to then. We'll try to release this information as we process it in real time on the channel, but a lot of this details has to happen in written form in VIP just because we don't have time to get it out. Specifically, when the FOMC minutes is released, we need to see if this is bullish or bearish and what sectors it targets. In the event Bitcoin goes down from 58% to mid 40% this year, would that mean alt season can happen, an emergency QE this year because of the damage in the war? Great question. Ultimately, we're building up to an event where the Fed has to print money. We've all heard this. A lot of the stock market guys are talking about it. And yeah, that's going to be a high impact catalyst for cryptocurrency. The Fed's been able to sideline printing money by doing soft quantitative easing. And this will impact different sectors like River, which builds its value around treasury bills. Knowing the Fed was going to be doing soft QE, and they put it in writing on December 30th, is how we put together that trading plan. We've already seen altcoins starting to have some serious upside. Tau is almost doubled up from our entry at this wick. Render, another flagship AI project, consolidating below take profit level 1, but Render's getting ready for another leg up too. Taking a step back here, aside from the war part of your question, in order to best understand any future upside, the best way to do this is to break down why we have downside in the first place. And the answer to this undoubtedly is because of the government shutdown and how it had such an impact on liquidity. The Fed has been talking about restoring that liquidity. It's going to be a huge talking point inside the FOMC minutes coming up. The government shutdown, the longest of all time, happened last fall, preventing the Treasury General Account, which is the government's checkbook, which is directly correlated with altcoin pumps. Just to prove to you that I'm not insane, here's an article on Milk Road discussing this exact concept. This is advanced level trading. A lot of people overlook this, but this is everything. Check out the dates. April 9th, tax season, and July 12th. There's April 9th, and of course, that's an FOMC minutes when they release all the details about quantitative easing. And right around here, there was huge conflict in Ukraine with 2 ceasefires right here. Ceasefires that journalists were very skeptical about, thinking that they didn't actually happen. And in fact, Trump was just trying to manipulate the markets. And then July 12th. So when the Treasury General Account pushes this liquidity back into the system, it's going to target AI CapEx. The institutional level traders are already front running this with your Tau, with your Render, with your AI agents ripping to the upside at these macro dates. let's take a look at those events on Bitcoin's chart. Yeah, the Treasury General account was huge for Bitcoin. A massive pivot and large range. We're talking a lot of range here. Everybody's waiting for this big 50K, 45K Bitcoin. That can go by in the blink of an eye. Just like our centrifuge trades, those are about 6 hours of top. It looks like it's just a wick to the upside, but there's time to cash out at these peaks. It's about half a trading day. When Bitcoin wicks down, it's not going to hang out at 45K for obvious reasons. The buyers are going to come back with equal force. Here's that durable goods print. Obviously, it was going to cause upside because Apple and everybody, they're overstocking, getting ready for tariffs. And then that July 8th event, which did something for Bitcoin, but nothing major. So there'll definitely be an impact on Bitcoin, but for altcoins, it was actually way higher of an impact. And then as we get into specific sectors like AI, because of AI CapEx, it'll hit even harder, causing this huge upside. Now, it really started to end also because of the dot plot vote. We were able to make that legendary Chad call out 45 days in advance because they're voting on the dot plot. In September, at the meeting, it's a quarterly meeting. They just had one, nothing changed in the dot plot. Powell cut rates once, giving a headwind of bullish, almost a disguise. Meanwhile, on the dot plot vote, they had a sequence of rate cuts originally priced into the market that then got priced out. That and our liquidity issues from the government shutdown, that's what's causing downside right now. Therefore, with liquidity restoration, we're starting to put some puzzle pieces together to repair the downside. Excellent question. Sui's been going straight sideways for a while. Yeah, this is bullish. Whenever you're getting a project that's just going sideways in a tight range, we want to see that. Sui's a newer listing. May 15th all the way up at $4. That's great. You want to pick up a bag of Sui, start building a position in Sui? Wait until we get a pullback around April 8th. It'll happen fast, but that'll be the day to buy. In the event they bomb Iran on the 6th of April, the jobs report's bearish, the minutes are bearish, stuff starts coming in bad news, wait till April 28th. That also will increase the chances that the Bank of Japan's going to do a carry trade. And that'll impact every altcoin, some more than others. Sui, according to the federal document of inflation from tariffs dissolving by midsummer, can get back to $4. So we get a nice discount down to 60, 75. That's a great entry. Really capitalizing on your gains. And that matters a ton, guys. Timing. And in order to do timing correctly, you have to use macros because nothing else is moving the market. Whatever these insane kids from the Peach Fuzz Mafia are saying, they just don't have it. Yes, we've been releasing these, and you should be able to find a link inside VIP to get these. One of the issues is these are custom made by myself. They're pine indicators. A lot of people have an issue copy pasting them into their pine indicator. So on TradingView, I'll tell you what, I'll do a video on how to load them and I'll drop them again. You might need to customize the code that we have built up, run it through Grok or ChatGPT and make sure it works. Some people, it doesn't carry over correctly. It might be a copy paste issue. I don't know. But yeah, those are already available, but I'll release them again. They're super valuable. Absolutely. You want to get your hands on those. Yeah, Roaring Kitty made $20 million, which is one of the reasons why it's hard to get really great trading information. You either got millionaires who have pivoted to being YouTubers like Meet Kevin. You get guys that, like myself, already successful, living in $1 million tower, have success with trading. Or you get a bunch of kids in their basement. It's really hard to find people with huge stacks that want to do videos. There we go. Yeah, we just vetted Zamo. Looks good to go. Absolutely. And durable goods is something that every trader should know. Now, previously in other videos, I've released documents kind of like that Milk Road document about the Treasury General account, just to prove I'm not insane, that other big institutional traders are using the durable goods to time their entries and exits. This is what the big dogs are doing and has huge impact on the market. All right, in order to best do durable goods, we want to look at an AI project, particularly virtuals, which is very correlated with durable goods. All right, now we got it all set up. What durable goods stand for is manufacturing inside the United States for automation and robotics. This is a hand in glove with the AI sector. All those Tesla robots walking around, etc., that's durable goods. The institutional level investors will use this to front run retail as they're estimating liquidity injections from the government. So similar to the labor market print, which is a lot easier for everybody to understand. When the jobs are coming in super low, this is bullish because the Fed's dual mandate, part of their big 4-year fiat cycle, is to push money in to make sure everybody can get a job. Once they've done that, once they built the GDP, like after COVID, during lockdowns, they're pushing all this money in, getting everybody a job, getting the economy up, ready to go. And then they start pulling that money back out, and they always use the bond market. So anybody showing you an M2 chart, they're kind of leading you astray. You want to study the bonds. When you become an effective crypto trader, really to the maximum of your potential, you're ultimately a bond trader, because crypto is trading to the inverse of the US bond market by Satoshi's design. Bitcoin halving every 4 years, just like the fiat system pushes this money in and takes it out every 4 years. That's their plan, at least. Of course, once it gets going, it's way more choppy. So the durable goods is tailoring how much of that liquidity is going to go into the US manufacturing via the Treasury General account injections. This is what Congress is voting on. This is why Nancy Pelosi has huge stacks, because Nancy Pelosi has the VIP group of the VIP groups, knowing Not only are we getting a rotation into AI, they're getting a rotation into Bill and Ted's AI company on Main Street on this day. So she can crush it because she does this. Just another level of accuracy, one step farther than we go in our VIP group. So right here for durable goods, and it also handles, backtrack. There's two key numbers that we're going to want to watch, particularly for this durable goods print on April 7th, which has been rescheduled, guys. These usually come out on the 24th of every month. But since the government shutdown, man, something weird's been going on with the macros. They used all the PPI inflation, which is producer inflation, to crush crypto with high inflation. They've been recently pivoting the durable goods to get released during FOMC minutes, which happen every 45 days. Look at this one. See, that says February 18th. They're supposed to be on the 24th, yet they moved this one into this huge cluster, which Trump just added to right around April 8th. So there's this huge cluster of events, and it's probably going to be bullish. So we get the TGA drawdown, panic mode, oh my God, everybody thinks they're going to get wrecked, and then lightning reaction upside because the buyers who are not retail, they are institutions using these tactics at an advanced level to get in. Two big numbers. One's X transportation, and the other is X defense. We can see them both here. We need them both to align. So one here is showing negative, one showing positive. One's in crisis mode, one's in growth mode. What we want is both of them to be in growth mode. We want to see U.S. manufacturing is rocketing. Institutional investors, they're going to jump on that. They're going to front run retail and get on that, knowing these stocks are using AI agents to make transactions and stuff. A great example of this, a profitable swing trade from 2025, despite a huge bear market. We get this pivot here. Durable goods comes out. We're in virtuals, take profit on May 15th. Bada bing, bada bang. That and Caspa saved my year. We can see even the durable goods getting front run. This is around rate cuts as well. Showing manufacturing, showing growth in AI and automation. So when that's released, the institutional investors are going to see where this Treasury general account money is going. They're going to get insight into that Nancy Pelosi style information. And then we're going to get our pivot. And this is everything goes according to plan. This could come out bearish and delay downside until April 28th. But because the president of the United States just chipped in on this one, it's kind of confirming both our theory, something big's going on April 7th. And we've been saying this for months on the channel, in the group, because we extracted this information through our tactics. Now the president, he's jumping in, he's jawboning, which is when an authority figure in the financial world is talking up markets. Powell, Trump's losing his credibility. Scott Bessant's is back up. He can step in. We got somebody using the 24-point checklist on Talbot. When you're screening with these auditing projects, well, I've done a ton of this. Aerodrome, screen Aerodrome through Go Labs. Aerodrome can flunk. Those tools are useful to extract very specific information, but they don't necessarily give an accurate summary. Remember, what is the source of those tools? A coder who understands crypto built those, and he's running it like a blog to get ad clicks. It does something. They're not like a crystal ball man. So go ahead and run Aerodrome through that bot and see what comes out. You're probably going to see what I'm talking about. My original plan before finding Caspa during 2023, one of my goals was build a big enough audience to attack Crypto John, and two, show everybody what Roaring Kitty taught me as he got $20 million from doing it and he's now out. Right here, what did the feds do? They hiked rates at an FOMC meeting. Obviously, super bearish. We shorted. Everybody else longed. Way back in the day. Nope. I thought, oh, here we go. We shorted and ended up layering into a short on AVAX and a short, I can't even remember the other one. It was so long ago, but we definitely shorted AVAX just because the Fed was hiking rates. And our original plan moving forward was we were going to go 50-50 split, half Solana and half AVAX. But we ended up going with Caspa, which beats splitting those two projects 50-50. Solana at our entry slightly outperformed Caspa, but it is what it is. The exact time that you want to buy Caspa, my friend, in the event the jobs report, the U.S. doesn't bomb Iran on April 6th, the president just tweeted about this, he extended his deadline, the durable goods come out bullish, and that FOMC minutes is good. What we're looking at is as the Treasury general account gets its refill, we're going to get a sharp V move to the downside, and then a rally to the upside. So you're going to want to jump in on Caspa in the event you're seeing that sharp downside on April 8th. Now, in the event, and we'll try to let everybody know on the main channel, everyone in the VIP group is going to get this information instantly. And we've been going behind the paywall and sharing a ton in these live streams because, you know, we really appreciate our fan base. It's awesome. But again, you can only learn so much from a video in the first place. In written form, where you can look at it like an algebra equation, back and forth, up and down, there's a ton of value in our VIP. This is a breadcrumb trail we're trying to give you guys to help you level up. And we're watching your back in case something happens. As long as nothing happens, you're looking for that drop down on April 8th, and you're going to scoop in the event something happens and it's more bearish, you're waiting for the Bank of Japan carry trade. So the aftermath of that will roll into like the first week of May. Those are the two key dates to buy on the day to get absolute maximum value. April 8th with the FOMC minutes and after the Bank of Japan carry trade. They might not even do it. In the event they had a concrete carry trade lined up, we may very well be waiting for that, but it might not even happen. It's impossible. We got a breakout happening right now on Canton. Canton is a top, huge billion-dollar project. There's been a lot of interest in our VIP group on Canton from members. Yeah, we're getting some upside here on Canton. looking at the structural pattern, nice rounded bottom. Yeah, we're starting to see the buyers starting to take over here. BTCZ, yes, we dump into this a lot, particularly when the market's getting a little bit more bullish. Let's bring up the Bitcoin dominance chart. I was hoping there was going to be a ton of writing on it. Sometimes there is. Okay. So what do we have here? You know what? Let's save this one for tomorrow's live stream, because this, I can pull a ton of value out, not just for what's happening right now, but what's really been moving Bitcoin dominance. If I have time to prepare this chart, set up all these backdated pivot points, what they were, pull up VIP posts when we've used this in real time, what we're seeing right now is actually an inverse to what we're seeing. We're seeing this reverse cup formation, which we're seeing on the total 3. On Bitcoin, we're seeing a Adam and Eve. We're seeing that sharp downside with consolidation. So right here, very important date, September 15th, they voted on the dot plot. There was originally a lot more rate cuts scheduled until then. What happens? Bitcoin dominance starts to rise, even wicking up. Powers removed from the altcoins as the rate cut schedule is reduced. That's a really important metric. It comes out 4 times a year. They just voted again and it went neutral. But as we're returning to that key event, which is this cornerstone right here, massive inflection point on Bitcoin dominance. As we're returning to it, altcoins are gaining their power back. Briefly after this, there we go. There's the Morgan Stanley regulation, right? The MSCI regulation, the massive attack on altcoins. And that entire time, there's a liquidity crisis, which impacts altcoins far more than Bitcoin. And as liquidity is getting ready, they're almost front running the restoration of liquidity, the rebalancing since the rate cuts. We're getting ready for altcoins to take more control. Great question. And let me give you another answer in tomorrow's live stream. We'll try to get it out in the first 10 minutes. Awesome question. Casper or Monad? Looking into the fundamentals of both, Monad, they're built by quants from Jump Street. They're using some crisscross type of Ethereum, almost like a sharding. It almost sound like a knockoff of BlockDAG, like they were trying to build a faster model for Ethereum scaling. That wasn't BlockDAG, but it was something else. Your strategic partners with Monad, you've got Jump Street, the market makers running the show. They've got to be favoring Monad. As these RWA projects, the entire stock market, everything that's traded on an index, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, That's all going to be tokenized, and it's going to run 24/7 on Ethereum, but ultimately on Ethereum scaling platforms. This narrative, the same as Centrifuge. This is a low cap listed on Coinbase, Ethereum scaling. I haven't done a deep dive 24-point checklist vetting on Monad yet. I like this formation, the Adam and Eve. This is what we just saw on Tau. This is what we're seeing on Render. It's very popular right now in trending projects, the trending sectors. Clearly, AI, RWA. This is from the labor market print sliding scale. So before it comes out, we already know what we're looking for, what we're going to trade on what numbers. This removes emotions and everything. Monad could be a pretty hot ticket. That can definitely get into the top 100. And because it's a new listing, it has a huge advantage in runway. Also can have some serious HODL implications. Of course, the institutions, guys, they're going to front run everything. So however high it's going to go, they're going to get in front of it undoubtedly. Their Jump Street partnership is huge. Caspa, they still need to launch the smart contracts. They still need to get the KII involved. We can see late summer, Caspa's hardlined right around 12 cents with that tariff inflation. Monad is like brand new. Wasn't even around in May. So there's a less controlled risk platform. Can definitely go higher. Clanker's the top one. We put together a huge reasons why Clanker is getting ready to rocket. One, BankerBot just rocketed, but Clanker, same as Banker, but BankerBot, they do a monthly fee. Clanker does token lockups. Binance has been talking about how the top 3 wallets have been absorbing Clanker nonstop since March 1st, right before they pivoted on to BNB. This has removed so much of liquidity. We can see just 31 hours ago, they withdrew more. So they've got like 20% of all the Clanker locked up in 3 wallets, just waiting to create parabolic action to the upside. In the event you're holding any Clanker, specifically on Coinbase, get that off the exchange. You can get cold storage in the description below with a discount. X402, the biggest narrative of this year. All the virtuals agents, the big ones at least, AIXBT, they're pivoting into AI agents. The FOMC documents, the trick that we use to figure out our timing, to figure out who's on first, what's on second for sectors. That's how we got River. That's how we got BankerBot, how we got Tau on the low. They're all talking about AI. The Clanker team is on Coinbase. Facebook, we're talking about Facebook just bought one of the Clanker bots, Moltbook. I'm talking what? So we're talking Mark Zuckerberg ultimately just loaded up on Clanker. So as the Treasury General Account refill takes place on October 8th, and just showing you that I'm not insane, there are other people talking about this, boom. We're looking at first the downside. Everyone's going to go into full panic mode. And then the institutions are going to step up and buy everybody's bags. And that's going to be super fun. But we will not delete this video so everybody can check it out. In the event everything goes according to plan, and this is one of the reasons why we get such better call outs inside VIP as according to on video. We got to process this information on the day. A lot of these breakouts happen to the day, to the dollar. We need to make sure the jobs report comes out bullish. They don't bomb Iran with the new deadline Trump did. The durable goods is bullish. The FOMC minutes, this can create sway. Hey, should we get River at today's discount? Or should we buy more Clanker, buy more AI projects? And then to top it off, we got CPI and more events. The Bank of Japan not hiking rates is bullish because it's not bad news. We've got meme coins. Let's see what this one's about. Punch. Awesome. It's got an animal. They love these animals. On Pump Fun. Any major listings? It's on MEXC, so it's pretty serious. Let's see if there's any major chart structures. On Dex Screener. Of course, Moltbook. Having Facebook purchase that, a lot of people haven't heard that yet. Yeah, not bad. For Aster and Aerodrome, for these DeFi projects, they are definitely waiting on the Clarity Act. So we can get a really easy catalyst for swing traders. And while that capital's free in cash, you know, we can try something in the AI sector or jump back into River, depending on what the FOMC minutes say, get some action before the Clarity Act unfolds. Because these DEXs, for one, they wanted to do KYC for Aerodrome, but they ended up just pushing that back to regulating the DEXs. So, in my opinion, breakouts in these DEXs are going to be delayed until Clarity Act can clear up the waters. Again, we are ultimately copy trading institutional level investors. No, they need to do large bond quantitative easing in order for Caspa to have a strong breakout, in order for anything to. Clarity Act, ZEC, Clanker, Tau, BTC, and Render, great setup. ZEC was something I was looking at for a VIP post today, but we want to wait until we get more insight from April. Exactly. You've got to hodl long term or really have it together to swing trade Caspa profitably during 2025. Despite the bear market, I was able to successfully, profitably swing trade Caspa. We have all those trading plans open. I went over all of them in last video. Because they don't have VC funding. All these other projects like Monad, they're backed by Jump Street, and that's huge. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for checking out this video. We'll catch you on the next one.